I hope you are doing absolutely fabulous today. And I need to turn that light a bit. Nice place. Okay, I'll be right back. Sorry about that. I still too high. There, there we go. That's a lot better. We have Jens in the chat. Peter saying hello, everybody. Uh, Peter saying good day. Good day, mates. Good day, Peter. Or, well, good morning to you. And Bowie says hi all. Hi all. Okay, here we have today. Bhakti has returned from his great journeys. As I showed you the pictures the other time. We have Stefan as per usual. And a very big thank you to my lovely patron, Flems. Flems has been very patiently my patron for the past, I think, 9 months now. So does anyone watching with who would be willing to join him in the Patreon would be highly appreciated. I don't know, not necessarily any of you in the live audience, but those watching replay. Okay, so this is what it looks like. Okay, it got so anyway, it's patreon.com/Heidi's Corner. Okay, the link is in the description box below. Got 3, 5, 10, and 20 and 30 euros a month, or equivalent in your own currency if available. Also, Kiwi, and Kiwi, Aussie, Canadian, US dollars, Swedish and Norwegian kroner, etc. No, that's a bit way too. That's yes, and or the equivalent in your own currency. If available, otherwise it's visible in euros, which is which for me is the default currency because I live in Finland. Also, the PayPal link is in the description as well. In addition to, sorry about the motorcycle noises. Seriously, come on. Okay, well, it's 11 p.m. on a Friday, and I'm so sorry. I have to keep the balcony windows, the balcony, the sliding windows open, and the door open, and I should probably open that back window there as well because it's so ridiculously hot in here. It's like, and that's why you may or may not hear the my computer fans ramping up because it's the other day it was almost close to 30 degrees in this room, and the only actual AC unit we have is in the bedroom, which is the number one priority. Okay, as for drink, I have Leffen, which is a Belgian Trappist beer. Okay, This is blonde leather, and I also have dark leather for tonight. I have two leather. Jen says not a tsunami, but too warmy. Yeah, why not? Why the hell not? Come on. And since the Monday, I think, was it what day is it? Is it's I don't even know what day it is anymore. Well, the the day I had the 100 subscriber special. Um, um, uh, Peter says, sounds like your noise cancelling software is working then. Yeah, and Jens says sounds better in German. Yes, I actually have filters on it. On my it goes actually through Streamlabs OBS. I can tell you that I have filters. I don't have any filters here. Okay, this one actually noise suppression. There we have it. Okay, that one is noise suppression. Um, okay, there we have it. Okay, because I think apparently I didn't have the I had it apparently only on game two. Okay, yeah. Okay, here we are. Yes, I have no noise suppression method RN noise, and then I have gain 2.3. So it yeah the noise suppression that I have works really well in this because the what I have here is I only have what I have here is the the noise cancellation that is here on Streamlabs. Okay, but the actual topic tonight, the U.S. Supreme Court um, overturned a decision or a ruling from they themselves actually made in 1973. So it was 40 almost 40 years old. So, by the way, did the audio change in any way? That I just now that I because I changed some settings in the audio effects or the filters. Anyway, the Roe versus Wade um, guaranteed a statewide, national, nationwide right to abortion. Subjective um, abortion right. But now, which basically it was a you know the, the Supreme Court ruling, there was only so much the individual states could do uh, in regard with regards to banning abortion and a number of other things. But until June 24th, 2022, in the US, there was a nationwide rights to abortion, which is quite sad that we now have to see that crumble. And and at the same time, they, because of the sanctity of marriage, not marriage, sanctity of life and shit. So, but it's ironical and contradicting that there is, at the same time, they ban abortion, or not directly ban, but remove the nationwide, the abortion rights, and leave it up to the individual states to decide what they think they want to do with it. There's there's about a split of pretty much half and half of states. Some had what's called a trigger law that, yes, they had in place for who knows how long time, um, just waiting to have the Roe v. Wade overturned. Just a moment. Okay. Which is quite horrendous. It's really, really dangerous. And at the same time, I think it was on the Tuesday, it was Thursday and Tuesday, they got the decisions, some rulings, and they basically made guns freely available to everyone. And statistically speaking, the most common cause of death for children is firearms. As for the abortion rights, it's been it Roe v. Wade protected abortion until quite late. Anyway, but now that but it's a fact that the U.S. has by far the biggest number of maternity deaths in the rich world. I mean, of the rich countries, i.e., Europe, i.e., the EU countries, Aussie land, Kiwi, North America, i.e., the US and Canada, etc. They have, I think it's 4 times the average, the maternity deaths. So there we go. And this overturning Roe v. Wade will make it worse, a lot worse. And there was actually on Twitter. This was on my personal Twitter, so I'm not comfortable with sharing. But it was about abortion, and there was this Christian guy. Yeah, a Christian guy defending the the criminalization of abortions says, facts may be whatever they are. I don't care what the facts are, but abortion is legal, is wrong, whether it be legal or illegal. And saying whether if someone has opposing opinions, or that it's a good thing to be able to have an abortion. Yeah, it's like having legal abortions being legal. It's just having safe abortions or unsafe abortions. Like there was this prohibition law in many countries in the 1920s and 30s. People still drank booze. Uh, often it was home. Often it was moonshine, which had methanol in it, and that made people blind. That killed people because it was illegal, and people were, were going to drink it anyway. So they had to make the moonshine themselves. And and this person is of the opinion that uh, abortion is murder and basically should be made illegal and should be criminalized. And I asked, um, I oh for fuck's sake, come on, why did they have? Okay, when I was a teen, I had a motorbike which was insanely loud, but it wasn't. It's only now that I understand why it was pain in the ass for the neighbors. So I asked him um, if abortion. Sometimes abortion is necessary to save the life of the person who's pregnant. So apparently, this person I'm talking to is a Christian, apparently a fundamentalist Christian. And I'm stating apparently a Christian uh, wants to say wants to say or had his love as grounds for murdering the person who's pregnant, because since, and I quote, life is sacred, life begins at conception, which some say, but for example, in the rabbinic Judaism, it's typically, and in the older Judaism as well, it was considered that baby was considered a human until like the second trimester. And yes, they knew that it lasted about 9 months, and they had up until the second trimester, it was just a blister of water with, and it was considered the woman's third leg. And in this tweet, I also said the biblical love is strange in anyway, and this person, as a reply, he gave me a non-reply. He says if it's the woman's life and the child's life at opposing, if it's the woman's life or the child's life, it's a tragic situation, and I quote, in that situation you shouldn't punish for abortion because it's self-defense. So in this person's opinion, abortion is murder, and that those having it should be tried and convicted of murder, which is quite ridiculous. Okay, and Okay. Um, I found what I was looking for because the Bible endorses abortion. Let's go to Numbers chapter 5, verses 11 through 31. Kings, and this is, mind you, in King James Version, which is the go to version, the go to translation for the evangelicals, who are the ones who are, trying to ban the abortion. So basically, this is Old Testament, the book of Numbers, chapter 5, verses 11 through 31. This is, and the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, um, basically, it says, if a man has caught things, he caught his wife, if he became if the man becomes jealous and thinks the woman has cheated on him, as in, like, he's been traveling, because traveling took a lot of time back then, and if the wife thinks and the husband thinks the wife got pregnant when she shouldn't have, um, let's see. Okay. Um, okay, okay. Let's see. The chapter, verses 23 onwards. So basically, the priest, this is advised by Yahweh. So basically, the priest is supposed to make a potion, um, and a curse, and priest makes a potion, writes a curse, um, in the books, or curses in the book, and then, um, okay, 21. Then the priest shall charge the woman with an oath of cursing, and the priest shall say unto the woman, the Lord make thee a curse and an oath among thy people, when the Lord doth make thy thigh to rot, and thy belly to swell. And mind you, the baby was back then, Jews considered the baby to be the woman's third thigh. So basically, the fetus to rot and come out. Yeah, it's really, 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 weird. And then he makes bitter water. Um, so verse 27. And when he hath made her to drink the water, then it shall come to pass that if she be defiled, i.e., pregnant, and have done trespass against her husband, cheated on her husband, and got that the water that causeth the curse shall enter into her, and become bitter, and her belly shall swell, and her thigh shall rot, and the woman shall be a curse among her people. Yeah. And if basically this is the priest causes the thigh to rot, basically giving the woman poison, causing an abortion, by instructions from Yahweh. And if she and he if she's not pregnant, she's considered clean and freed. So that's the Bible endorsing abortion, among other things. So there we have it. Jensen, no universal health insurance plus no maternity leave equals no prenatal care and high risks during birth. Yeah, it can cost 10 to $20,000 just to give birth. Uh, but anyway, that's besides the point. Let's go to the article that I have prepared for you. Uh, yeah, Peter says that the perfect storm for chaos and anarchy. This and Bowie says this is also coming from the same morons that are also attacking the Trevor Project. Yes, Trevor Project is, by the way, something that I am planning to talk about at some point. Peter says if abortion is murder, then so is miscare and abuse of power. It's also murder. Yes, because it causes death, and I cannot understand, pardon me, that's how they can talk about the sanctity of life um, at the same time they release all all weapons freely available to pretty much every single person in the United States of asphalt. It's curious. It's curious. If you're hearing computer fans, don't never mind. I had to turn them all. I had to turn all of them uh, up. No, full speed. Okay. Here we have it. This is from the Nature magazine. Yes. Roe v. Wade protected abortion until the point fetus can live outside the womb, typically set to 22 or 24 weeks of pregnancy. I must say, I think in Finland it's up until 21 weeks. Uh, it's not completely free. It's social, social and medical purposes. Uh, so we have a disturbance in the force. Just a moment. Yes. So there is an amusing hat over there. Look at that. Look at that hat. Isn't that curious? Yes. Sorry. I had to open doors and turn the AC unit a bit more. But in some countries, actually, like certain Arab countries, even miscarry, as in some actually U.S. states, I think the most conservative ones, even um, even even miscarriage can be considered murder because it's the woman's body, you know. Basically, the woman is considered to have murdered the woman, the baby. Look at that that there is picture of Bertil, you know, the login screen, and then the wallpaper. Yes, she's here to play games. Okay, but it's horrible. If even a miscarriage can be considered a crime. Okay, and as to nobody's surprise really, it's it's been it, many public health officials have warned warned it warned about this that it could be but the conservative justice who actually um, Samuel Alito said Roe was egregiously wrong from the start. Its reasoning was exceptionally weak. The decision had damaging consequences. No, wrong, Mr. Alito. Your decision you just made is exceptionally weak and has long-lasting effects. Now, as it said here, and as I said, there were these trigger bans that were prepped in well in advance. Uh, which is quite weird because all the actual experts who gave their testimony and gave their statements said no, do not, you just cannot overturn Roe v. Wade. It increases physical, medical, and mental health issues if denied the abortion, as well as natal natal birth. You know, pre intra and postpartum, and is likely to increase the rates of postpartum depression, which is one of the mental health issues mentioned here, and also the infancy death rates will. I'm afraid that we will see a huge rise in maternity and infancy deaths in in the U.S. Huge increase in these in in the following year or so. Which is super weird. Okay, and in 2013, for example, in 2013 in Texas they passed legislation on, including a ban on most abortion procedures after 20 weeks of pregnancy. And it dropped by 13%. So about 100, more than 100,000 people in the U.S. are being denied abortion post Roe. So basically, 100,000 unwanted pregnancies, which may have been caused, many of which, most are caused by poor sex ed, which I have a video coming up on. Let me see. LGBTQ inclusive sex ed, in which I will discuss also the horrible state of the American sex ed system in general, on a general level, and that will premiere on 5th of August. So in just in next month, basically next month. So. So I will. That's accurate because we are then on vacation. Uh, so anyway, rape, poor sex ed, teen pregnancies, teen pregnancy and teen and adult unwanted pregnancy rates is rampant in the conservative states, in the namely in the southern states in the Bible Belt, uh, where it's abstinence only or just don't. And that's a conservative estimate. From says Lisa Fuentes, a senior research scientist at Guttmacher Institute in New York City. A substantial proportion of those who want abortion services but don't have access to them will unfortunately carry to term. The consequences are documented, and the consequences are horrible. It was 1,000 U.S. women for 5 years after they sought abortion, whether it be received or denied. It's just ridiculous. And why is it that? Okay. Yeah, odd. It's just so weird. And correction to my previous statements in on the during the Monday live stream regarding the Pennsylvania being on legalizing homosexuality in 2022. The Pennsylvania is not a southern state, and it's not a Bible Belt state. As far as I can, I figure, but it's not a southern state. It's in the U.S. East Coast or the Atlantic coast, not a coastal state, but right next to the state of New York. This was this information was conveyed to me by a a comment. Let's see. There. There. Purple rhymes with orange. Pennsylvania is a northern state, not on the Atlantic coast, but next to the next state west from New York on the Great Lakes. There we have it. Okay, so it's bad. Is bad. Okay, there's an estimate that within a few months of Roe being overturned, 54% of women seeking abortion will have to travel farther than they would have previously to reach their nearest abortion provider. From about 58 kilometers, 36 miles, to an average of 444 kilometers or 274 miles on average. With the fact that U.S. there is literally no public transport system in the U.S. There are in the cities, in the bigger cities, but long distance, no. Or even if there is, it sucks. It's very hard. Even if it's available, it's very hard to come by, and it's ridiculously expensive. And between and we know that petrol is now insanely expensive, and the women seeking abortion are often a bit poorer than others. they may not have the financial resources to travel 4.5, 440 kilometers one way. Or I think that's, I'm not sure if that's one way or return, or there and back. But it's still, it could be for 440 kilometers one way. Yeah, based on what we know, this is from there's a researcher, this Myers. Um, so yeah, based on what it's on from journal contraception, based on what we know about how women respond to travel distance, about 3/4 of them are still going to manage to get out and reach a provider, and about a quarter of them won't. The quarter represents the poorest and most vulnerable people. Would crossing state lines make it a federal offense? Look, it's not a as of right now. It's not a criminal offense. You are just not allowed to get one in your own state. It's not a criminal offense anywhere, as far as I can tell. As far as I can tell, abortion is not a crime anywhere. Anywhere in the states, it's not a crime. It's illegal to provide one. You just cannot provide one. You'll lose. You'll probably lose your. The doctors and nurses will probably lose their licenses. Their licenses to practice, and the clinic will be closed. But it's not. It's not like. It's not like. Even though these jackasses consider abortion a murder, they do. It's not. It does not, as far as I can tell, does not constitute a murder. Some states want to make it illegal to get an abortion in another state, but how the fuck are they gonna enforce that? There's no maternal. There's no prenatal care mandatory, and even if there is, it costs so much money that no one's gonna that the poorest aren't gonna get it. So no one knows they're pregnant, and then they'll go out of state. But that would require banning. That would mean banning all pregnant, all anyone who's pregnant wouldn't be able to leave the state under any circumstances, unless the pregnancy is far enough to so that no state will provide an abortion. When it's not even considered an abortion anymore, it would be just premature birth. But anyway, that would ban any pregnant people leaving the states. But anyway, as it's not a crime, to cross state lines, because they are not committing a crime for now. If you can get an abortion in the next state over, if, for example, abortion is illegal, or you can't get an abortion, is performing an abortion is illegal in state A, but you can get an abortion in state B. The next state over is state B, where you can get an abortion legal. If you go there, you travel from A to B and get your abortion there. No one has committed a crime. So, yeah. Um, yeah. And as for Vui, good question to ask the idiots attempting. So I'd like to see them try, but the law will fail because nature has ways of weeding out the smarts from the stupid. Yeah, and that would, uh, yeah, as I said, that would require them to ban any pregnant person to leaving the state. No pregnant people can leave the states until they carry the term. That's the only actual way that I can think of. Uh, the legislature that is trying to ban, you know, trying to criminalize or trying to to trying to prevent the abortions from happening, or the state residents from having an abortion. So anyway, by the way, about the state lines of federal states, like the US, there is a federal state called Germany. Uh, I think there are 16 states in plus Berlin. I'm not sure if Berlin is included in the 16s in the 16, but anyway, there are several, just over a dozen states. Each have the state. It's like pretty much like the U.S. They've got the state police, and then there's the federal police, the German Bundespolizei, which is turned back. Berlin is one. Yes, says Berlin is one of the 16. Okay, now I know. Okay, 16 including Berlin. Okay. We just turned back uh, from, or not back, but this this was actually I think it was, yeah, I think we heard back from the German Bundespolizei, basically the German equivalent for the closest relative in the US is the FBI. We heard from the the Deutsche Bundespolizei, because when 2 months ago, when just under 2 months ago, when we were in Berlin on our way back, we had an incident at the airport. At the airport security check at Berlin Brandenburg Airport. Um, I went, of the two of us, I went first, and what happened was quite horrible. If you really think about it, there are these in Helsinki airport. There are these regular, metal detectors, and if anything, shows up, if anything shows up, beeps, flashes, anything, you go to this whole, this basically body scan device. But at the Berlin Brandenburg Airport, there was only these whole body scan things. I went to one of those at my turn, and there was something. I I could vaguely see the screen, the where they got the image. It didn't show boobs, bra, genitals, anything. It just showed the general figure, my general figure, and then there were a few uh, reddish blobs on a few places. So they needed to get to make a a pat down. Um, Due to some hitherto unknown reasons, uh, the two men I had the displeasure of doing business with um, didn't speak any English. I don't speak German. I I have basics in Dutch, of Flemish, the Belgian dialect of Dutch. But that and I speak some Swedish, but that doesn't really help. Especially in that situation, just all languages except English go just boom. They spoke only German, which shouldn't be the case in the security check of a major European international airport. Anyway, they asked for my ID. The the first man, let's call him man A. He asked me for my ID, and he was about to to come on me and to the back pat down, even though he saw my ID. Um, it says there's my gender marker is female. It says F. Just for reference for those who are not European, in the Schengen area, or in Schengen and in Western Europe, EU and Schengen area, you don't need a passport at the airports. You just need you can have either your passport or your national ID card. I had my ID card. The Finnish version says it has the gender marker. It says F, and Heidi or Heidi is my first names are my three first names are very stereotypical um, female names internationally. Heidi is a uh, German first name, and in the English-speaking country, like Heidi Klum, and there are several famous Heidis in the public eye in the English-speaking world, um, and my other two are clearly female names, and my gender marker is female, and it's supposed to be done by a female security person, but no. And I said, no, 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 no. And then I don't know if it was the supervisor, the supervisor. I don't know. Um, he came in and he, no, sorry, the man A didn't. I think he even refused to take my ID. It was the man B who agreed to take. Uh, I tried to the man A. I tried to say that that I'm a woman. He didn't he didn't understand it. Okay, and the man B came. He took he took my ID and showed to the they were having a laugh because clearly they could you hear my voice, which is quite, I must admit, quite low, and I've been misgendered, even though people see, I'm like this, and people see my bra, my boobs. If you really if you look there, you can really see that there are boobs, and not just padding. I don't use extra padding because that's not necessary because I have my naturally grown boobs. But then the man B started, he had his grin, and he started showing like you know you know but that down you know down the groin area, you know being having looking quite smug, and this whole situation lasted for a good, maybe a good 5 minutes. Um, up and then eventually a female security person, uh, apparently, well, what I could figure, a someone who's legally female, apparently, female female representing, and apparently probably legally female, to do the pat down, and she was just a lovely person. She didn't say much, but she was really polite. Now, we've been having we had first we were in contact with the airport officials, uh, with and they said that some person there replied that yes, we take these we that you know we are um, I don't know, Valiant Thor as the message has been deleted apparently, but it's still on the screen. Uh, and I quote, ladies, if you decide to have a baby, the baby man should not have to pay. If, and I quote, end quote, uh, and I quote, if you can kill the baby, I can at least abandon him. It's money. It's my money, my choice. Well, Dave Chappelle, I've heard that name before. Who does it? Ah, it's this one. Ah, this dick. Ah, okay. Anyway, this person from the airport said, "Okay, we are truly sorry that this happened. Um, truly sorry that this happened. We have forwarded this to the German federal police, the Deutsche Bundespolizei. They'll, basically just delegating it out of their ass." Then we had the weirdest thing happened. So a couple of weeks later, we heard from the we got an email from the security company Securitas, which is a multinational security company. Providing security services like bouncers and security guards to railway stations, airports, bars, private properties. There's district security guys who drive around and check the different properties, etc. We heard from them. They wrote us a long email in German. Uh, so they they are basically, as we said, we replied that we don't speak German. So they asked a descriptions of these people involved. So I gave it somewhat and they asked when and which uh when we were there, when we were at the security, and which part of the which general which security check we were, uh and our flight number, the Finnair flight. It was a Finnair flight back. So now, and that was 3 weeks ago now, and today we got a long ass message. We got a message from or an email from, finally, after almost 2 months, that without hearing from the Bundespolizei, we finally got an email from them, and they were saying that sorry that we all these administrative decisions have to be made in German. All these formal papers have to be made in German. So they wrote us a long ass message, or a decision in German. Uh, on Yeah, yeah, it was from the Bundespolizeiinspektion Flughafen Berlin-Brandenburg. So there is a, some yeah, it was a long ass, it was a 4 page, no, sorry, one, two, 3 page document from the German police in German. So I I'm getting, yeah, there's a case ID actually, but for this, because it was an actual case ID on for the German, for the Bundespolizei. Now the problem is we had some idea from uh, some idea um, via Google Translate, but the bottom line here is that they will do nothing, that they will not proceed with it anywhere with this, because uh, they in that uh, in that in that document, in the formal answer letter, they said that that those in on shift, um, those on shift uh, in that in that security area, none of them remember seeing anything like this. They do not remember seeing or hearing like anything like described in the complaints. No one saw anything, no one heard anything. That's why the German Bundespolizei won't be taking it any further, because they just take their word for it. And I need more beer. Okay. Uh, Leffe, brown Leffe. Anyway, uh, so I will get the documents, fully translated from someone who knows their shit. An interpreter, bit higher, a higher ranking interpreter that I know is way too busy to do anything. But my grandma happens to be a retired um, um, my grandma happens to be a retired German teacher, German and Finnish teacher. He taught Finnish as first and second language at the a number of schools, including but not limited to the Helsinki, which is capital. Helsinki is the Finnish capital. It's the Helsinki German School. So I'm going to ask my Nana to translate the document, in full, because it doesn't really help to be on the mercy of Google Translate. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to write, with the help of my mom, an article to the biggest daily newspaper in this fucking country. It's by far the biggest. It's by far the biggest newspaper in this country. So to get the attention because to get the attention of the German embassy, to get their attention, because this is embarrassing to their country, and that's my mom's opinion. Because and I decided to go, and I've decided to go with that because she's familiar with international politics. She has worked in an for the she just retired, but for the past 25 years, she worked in a place which where she was surrounded by international politics and diplomacy, diplomats and politicians, international politicians. So I'm I'm going to write to the biggest ass newspaper in the country to publish the writing about this, and this would get the attention of the German embassy in Finland, the German embassy in Helsinki, because this would be because Germany prides itself as a tolerant and multicultural nation or country, and they pride Berlin as a um, tolerant and the most LGBTQ plus friendly city in Europe, and then they got this shit smear at the happen at the Berlin airport, the biggest international one of the biggest international airports in Europe. So that's that is something that it would be really embarrassing for the German government and for the Finno-German relations. That would be really embarrassing for the German embassy in Finland. Anyway, end of rant. Booby says, imagine finding a city made of solid gold and diamond decorated. What would you do? I mean, if there's gold and diamonds are worthless if there's no nothing else there, because just having gold and diamonds doesn't give you anything else than just the money it, worth it's worth it. Gold is a soft metal, so you can't really drill with it. You can't use it um, in macroscopic scale and in industry, etc. So I don't really see the point. Do we? So it's a void question. Void question in itself. Bowie, why doesn't that shock me? And Ian says those guards stick together. They make sure they all tell the same story. Yeah, probably because they heard from the airport people. They had some time in advance to get their story straight. But to get the attention of the German government via the embassy and making it look bad for them, because this looks really bad. So that's fine. Anyway, Roe v. Wade consequences horrible. This will be just carnage. By the way, I'm not sure if I've ever now that because I don't have I'm not wearing long sleeves as I typically do. I don't think I've done a tattoo tour. So basically, I've got a unicorn there. This I got I think 3 years ago. I got that three 3 years ago now, I think. In 2019, I think I got this one. Um, because I was working at the in a certain place. I think I remember. Okay, where the uh, been it's been a while now. Yeah, it was spring. It was in March of 2019. I got this, and I think it was the year later. Um, the year later, so March of 20, 2020, got this. This it's the gender diversity symbol, and some flowers. It's and then I've got the names of my three siblings on that one I got in 2013, almost 10 years ago, 2013 I think. It is 2013. So that, and then I've got one on my right calf. It's a text. It's a text. It's a quote from the guitar singer, the lead singer and guitarist of The Warning, Daniela Villarreal. Oh, Villarreal, I think it's really pronounced. It's this: music is passion, music is hope, music is life. That is something that I agree with. Uh, the Yeah, it says this SCOTUS seems to like Trump's defiant Suicide Squad. Yeah, but look, the Supreme Court, uh, the Supreme Court, those are the judges are appointed by the president. It's a political job, and they serve, and they hold, can, if they wish, hold the office for life. For example, one of the longest serving uh, Supreme Court justice, this black guy, he he's been served. He was appointed by George Bush, the George Bush senior in 1991, and he's like 17 years 70 years old now. Yeah. So Clarence Thomas, Clarence Thomas, um, born June 23rd, 1948. So he's 74 years old. Is the oldest. He's a black guy. So yeah, he's a which is a crown jewel for the Republicans. Like, look, we appointed a black guy to Supreme Court, but yeah, they serve for life. Anyway, but the carnage. But as long as there are Republican appointed justices in the SCOTUS, then until it's Democrat majority, there's a majority of Democrats appointed judges. As long as there, yeah, okay, as long as there are a majority of Republican appointed judges in SCOTUS, then as long as we have those, then we have as long as we will have these type of decisions like free weapons to everyone and ban abortion, ban women's rights, etc. Do we have anything interesting? No, not really. Anyway, so it's been an hour and 20 minutes. I think that's way too far. Not way too far. Come on. Yeah. I mean, I've I've done longer. I've done longer, I think. Uh, so I think it's time to go for me to wrap up the stream. Okay, I have work tomorrow. It's Saturday. So I know it sucks to have work on Saturday, but you know that's how it is. So, Bowie says basically Republican anything is a problem for actual freedom. Precisely. Okay, so now is the time for me, for Stefan, and Bertil, and Katja to go. And I will see you on Monday for another episode of News Reboot. An interesting topic coming up on Monday. Yeah. Check the links. The patreon.com/Heidi's Corner. And yeah. That's hang on. Okay. So, I will see you on Monday for another episode of Monday Reboot. Please check the links down in the description. PayPal, patreon.com/Heidi's Corner. The playlist links are down there, as well as my email address, my Discord server links, etc. etc. Go there and leave a like if you haven't subscribed. Do so, and tickle the notification bell, and leave me a comment. Please leave me some kind of comments. Doesn't have to be anything sensible. Just go like space, comma, if you will. But I will see you on Monday. Sorry.
Help! Let me out! Out! I want out! Now!